What's going on, everyone? Welcome into another Forward Progress live watch along presented by Fanduel. It's the Chiefs and the Chargers tonight. Good to see everyone in the chat here in the early going. Going to fire out a lot of bets. We got an 8:20 game start tonight. I posted in the chat prior to the show today. I just want to let everyone know I'm feeling terrible, pretty rough. Going to try to power through for this first half to at least get you guys the look-aheads for next week, talk it over with Clive, recap the day. I don't know that I could sit here for the full night tonight. Don't know what's going on, but as the afternoon went on, I was just feeling more and more ill. So I'm going to try to power through. It is my flu game. I don't know what's going on lately. Something's going around here. Maybe high stress, lack of sleep, bunch of stuff, but feeling like crap. The Titans-Jags game made Rob ill. It was more likely the Saints-Giants game that did that to me. We'll get into that a little bit later on. Bad soup. I wish I could have had a nice soup today. I wish I could have had a soup today, but such is life. Going to move on, try to get through it as best I can as I'm starting to sweat profusely, I would say. Profusely. So yeah, plan on the first half. We'll see how things are going, but in all likelihood, I don't think I'm going to be able to stick for the full game today. Just wanted to get that out there. Apologies to all of you who tune in for Sunday nights and want to get, experience the stream as part of a community. I get it. I just feel really bad. And Jason is still not around right now for reasons that I can't get into, that I don't want to discuss. So as it stands right now, that's the way it's going to be tonight. Okay. In terms of props, let's actually start with the game, full side and total, because I just want to give a real quick breakdown of this. I'm going to be the big time Debbie Downer here, right? The Ladd McConkey news came out about half an hour ago, maybe a little bit longer than that. If you didn't bet the Chiefs off of that news, whether a spread or money lines, it's too late now. It's already been priced into the market at this point. You know, you're basically reacting to information that's been available for too long. The same thing with the under in the game. Now, obviously, we can make recreational bets. You want to bet for fun. You could do what you want to. But if you're betting seriously with the intent of making some money here, the market has already reacted to the information that Ladd McConkey is going to be out. Even the prop markets have reacted in a big way with Quentin Johnston and Josh Palmer and Jalen Reagor to a lesser extent being bet over. Will Dissly, all of these guys in some capacity have been bet. On the Kansas City side, we do get confirmation today that DJ Humphries is going to play at left tackle. To me, that's going to be a really interesting one to watch because the tackle situation has been a complete disaster for the Chiefs this year. It still might be. But DJ Humphries should be an upgrade at left tackle. Let's start with the SGP for today. And this is a weird one that I'm going to build because normally we go alternate spreads one way or another. I don't really want to alt spread KC. I'm not saying they can't win by margin, but I don't love betting them to win by margin, generally speaking. I don't really want to bet the Chargers on the money line here either. I actually think that if I was going to play something at post in this game, it would be KC money line. So that's where we're going to start. We're going to put KC money line into an SGP. And then we're going to go with some other more extreme outcomes. I'm going to go with Justin Herbert, 40 plus rushing yards. That's the alternate rush yards on Justin Herbert at 40 plus. And I'm going Jalen Reagor, 25 plus yards, alternate receiving yards. We've seen Reagor a lot more involved in the offense recently. We don't have any sort of sample size of Ladd McConkey being out, at least not a large one. He has missed some time here and there in game. But I think Reagor's numbers are way too low. Hitman actually sent out a release on Jalen Reagor not too long ago. Totally agree with that. On the Justin Herbert side, that's more of a feel. And there is some empirical evidence to back that. You go back a long way. Primetime games that are higher leverage, this being a divisional game, you do tend to see an elevated rushing yardage from quarterbacks. Now, Justin Herbert, can he pick up 40? He's already done it once this year. This is more of an extreme outcome, and that's why we're getting a price of 23.5 to 1. Same game parlay profit boost token. If you haven't used it today, you pump that up into the mid 30s and you're laughing. So this is the way I'm going to go. Brinks, I know you love the Herbert over rushing yards. I'm glad I could make you happy for a day today. So that's it. 3-leg outcome, as most of the parlays seem to be on this show. Chiefs money line, root for them to win. In trailing game state, Herbert uses his legs, and Jalen Reagor, I think, is the most underpriced receiver in terms of the one that's most likely to be, overperform expectations by a bunch. Can I bet Reagor over half drops? Does seem to happen pretty regularly. Maybe a fumble through the end zone. Classic Jalen Reagor style. That's where I'm starting. I do want to go to the receiving yardage market as well for some regular props here. And I'm going to start on the Kansas City side and take a look. Just want to actually double check that hasn't moved, because we've seen a lot of line movement on props leading up to this game here. So really quickly before I give it out. All right, receiving yardage market, Justin Watson listed for the Kansas City Chiefs at 9.5 receiving yards. We're playing over on Justin Watson. We're doing it for a half unit. That's going to be $50. I talked about this on Pizza Buffet this morning, but you basically have 4 wide receivers on the Chiefs in DeAndre Hopkins, Xavier Worthy, Juju Smith-Schuster, Justin Watson. All of them are getting very similar snap counts. Now, obviously, Hopkins is going to command more targets than a guy like Justin Watson, but I actually think that this prop number is a little bit too low at 9.5 minus 110. So I'm playing over on that. I did have a lean on Reagor. That's gone right now. Also, if you're looking for like a long shot type of prop, I think you can justify Patrick Mahomes 3+ passing touchdowns in this game at plus 420. If you get 4 to 1 or higher, I think you can justify that. If you look at recent weeks, a lot more of the touchdowns have been coming in the passing game. You get better pass protection at left tackle today. That's just kind of like an alt market that I think is worth a sprinkle. And when I say a sprinkle, if your standard unit is $100, put something like $20 on that. Patrick Mahomes, 3+ passing touchdowns, and been bet down to plus 400. But that's my limit. Do not go further than that. Marcus Erickson likes the alt under 36.5. Does have the feeling of closer to a low scoring game than a high scoring game, especially with the history between these two teams. That does tend to lend itself to lower scoring games. And that was when Patrick Mahomes was playing a lot better, or, I don't want to blame him for everything, but was a little bit more on top of his game than what we're seeing right now. So that's where I'm going for starting props, as we're getting the bots again. I mean, it must be doing a good thing if the bots are targeting us.
This is a war, Rob, against these right now. Like, trying to track and do everything in real time here and watching these come in is nuts right now. I'm sorry. I'm trying as fast as I can.
No problem. At least they're getting banned. Jizzy J would have left those in stream for a long time. For a very, very long time. Okay, anytime touchdown score market. Let's take a quick look here. Gave out Juju Smith-Schuster on the show this morning at 8 to 1. Down to 7 to 1. Honestly, still think he's playable at that price. But that's, again, borderline. On the Chargers side, I think your best value on the board is Justin Herbert anytime at plus 480. Fanduel. Really good price relative to market. There's some plus 450 out there. I mean, I'm looking at these like plus 305, plus 340. I wouldn't go anywhere near those. 4 to 1 or higher, Justin Herbert anytime. Solid bet. We'll go 0.2 units on that. And again, this is just tied to performance from in primetime games from quarterbacks where they're more likely to run the ball. Divisional, high leverage game. There is empirical evidence to back that one up. He's the main guy. I'm going to stick with Juju Smith-Schuster. Hopefully he played him this morning, got the better price. If you have to play 7 to 1, at least it's still the best price in market at FanDuel right now. That is the option that I'm going to go with the Chiefs. I mean, FanDuel does have the best price on DeAndre Hopkins as well at plus 270. I just don't want to be betting crazy amounts into this market. Again, FanDuel, our show sponsor. If you're looking for props that are off market that potentially have value, Isaiah Pacheco rushing yards is set at 47.5 at FanDuel. It's basically 51.5 everywhere else. So if you like the over on Isaiah Pacheco, this is where you're going to want to hit it because it's quite a bit off market. Don't bet 4 yards worse, especially for running backs. That's where this kind of stuff like really, really, really matters. If you like Josh Palmer unders, which I don't, but if you do, 46.5, highest number in market at FanDuel, under would be the play there. So to recap, not a ton going on here. You might see me distracted in the first half watching. I do have some Chiefs money line. Steven Robinson played Juju first TD plus 2,800. Marcus likes the Watson angle. All right.
Rob, I may have figured this out. Well, I didn't figure it out. I was made aware of this. Drew in the chat, is subscriber only comments turned on? The answer was no.
What? So that's changed. That's changed.
Yeah.
Okay, we got to put that back on. They got to be sub for like at least a minute. Okay.
Yeah, I did. 1 minute there. It's on. Yeah. Thank you, Drew.
Production at its finest right here. This is what a true producer does. Figures out a problem, finds a solution for it. So we should be good. We should be good on that one. I saw someone say last TD to take a look at, I lost it. Vidal, last TD. So that would be blowout one way or the other. I'm thinking more along the lines of Carson Steele. Will he get any run? I mean, last TD 70-1. That would kind of be the guy I target. I don't think P. Ryan would be out there eating carries late. All four are active tonight, by the way. Pacheco, Hunt, P. Ryan, and Steele. Don't love it, though. Don't love it. All right. That's going to be it for tonight's breakdown. Again, going to go through the entirety of the games with Clive for next week. No teams on buys. So we got a ton going on. Drop your favorite bets in the chat as well. Very interested to see what people are on tonight. As a reminder, if you're betting tonight or the season as a whole, make sure you bet the NFL season on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Love the FanDuel product. It's great. Really easy to find bets, very intuitive, easy to navigate. A very, very complete sportsbook. And right now, all customers get a profit boost every single NFL game day. That means you can pump up your gridiron winnings multiple times a week. And tonight, you got the SGP profit boost token for Sunday Night Football. For tomorrow, plan ahead because Monday Night Football, we got the catch a pass profit boost token as well. FanDuel has tons of ways you can get in on the NFL action. You can bet on money lines, spreads, player props, and more. Plus, with super simple live betting, lightning fast bet settlement, and instant withdrawals, FanDuel makes betting on the NFL easier than ever before. Just visit FanDuel.com/forwardprogress to download FanDuel today. You must be 21 plus and present in select states or 18 plus and present in DC. Opt-in is required. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including token expiration. See terms for offers at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit fanduel.com/RG. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. All right, let's get into it. It's Sunday night. Game's going to kick off shortly. You know what that means. It's time to recap the day, look ahead to next week with my good friend, new office chair, Clive Bixby. New office chair, microphone off, though. Microphone off.
Yeah, the dog. Yeah, new chair. It's comfy. I like it. Got a nice little headrest here.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you one thing you're going to notice about the new chair. It looks good, but I have a OCD, and right now I can see that this pillow behind my head is slightly off center, and it's going to start to
I'm off
drive you
center,
crazy.
and it's
Yes.
driving me crazy. But I got to find my spot in this chair. It's not quite there yet. It's like a very, very, very good support in the lower back, which I didn't really have before. Like a nice curve I could recline.
Oh yeah, it's the dream cushion back here, man. It's good. Yeah. These ergonomic chairs nowadays, beautiful.
Yeah. So how was the day for you?
Not good, but not miserable. I pretty much lost on everything today, but it could have been much, much worse. Dolphins was a big play that I got. I would say I feel like I got lucky on. I had another big play on the Saints. I feel like I was very unlucky on that. Won on the Vikings, lost on the Eagles, lost on the Bears, which was just a number grab. Lost Las Vegas, Tampa Bay over. Lost Pittsburgh, Cleveland over. Mostly losses today. Props didn't go too well either. What are you going to do though? I honestly feel okay. It's funny what like winning on Thursday night just mentally changes everything for me for the week. I felt like I was already ahead today and didn't really seem that bad.
Yeah, it's weird. It's almost like for me sometimes I get a little bit of winner's tilt. I don't know if you ever had that when you were playing poker back in the day, where it's like, oh, all right, I had a really nice session. I'm just going to kind of call it here. I had a little bit of it today, but I didn't really don't have any good edges for tonight's game. So all I did today and Thursday was props. So up about a half a unit, nothing special, but so far that's been going well. We did well last week. Caustic did a recap. So we went 4-0 so far.
I saw that. We didn't get the best numbers. And honestly, I was looking back at it and I was like, I really can't believe my first reaction was to bet Carolina. Ended up being a good bet in the sense that it won. I played Philly minus 12.5 later in the week. And by the way, people, just to make this explicitly clear, I'm just giving my gut reactions to seeing the early lines here. And we're kind of tracking that and see how it plays out over the course of the year. Once I start to run numbers and things like that, things start to change. But I thought that game was a little bit misleading in the sense that, yes, Carolina kind of hung around, but they didn't play all that well, statistically speaking. I don't know. It was just like a really, really weird game where I look at the box score afterwards. I say even amount of yards for both of those teams, Carolina and Philly. But on per play basis, Philly was a lot better. Success rate wise, Panthers offense only 39% success rate. You obviously had that Jake Elliott missed field goals, a long one. It was over 50 yards, but he can't hit a long field goal. All these things kind of worked out in their favor. And ultimately, I wish I just had stuck with the early lean rather than the late one.
Yeah, I didn't think my numbers were going to support the Panthers at all. I ended up not making a play on it, but instinct had me anti-Philly, but part of that's I hate Philly. But I also think that they're at their absolute peak in market too. So that's the other thing. And I don't think Carolina's been adjusted quite enough to what they've done the last 3 or 4 weeks. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of where my mindset was instinctually last week. And the same thing here. I mean, we're just looking at these things, initial instincts. We maybe have a little bit of time to look at a couple stats. We don't have weather reports for totals, and that's tough too, now that we're in December. So, take them with a grain of salt.
Yeah, I'm with you. I did get to watch the end of this Bills-Rams game, which, by the way, was like an absolute fire game. I'm just thinking back on it as a whole, and like offensively, I don't know the last time I saw 2 quarterback performances in one game that were as good as what I saw from Stafford and Allen today. Like that was elite quarterback play all around.
Yeah, some really, really great throws. And, I know we were talking a couple of weeks back about, has the quality of the game kind of slipped. Today was one of the days where I just really, really enjoyed watching football. And it wasn't because I had a lot of action on anything, just other than the Saints-Giants game. Like, I thought there was a lot of things that kept me intrigued.
Yeah, Saints-Giants kept me intrigued because I just kept asking myself, how are the Saints not going to cover this game? I watched the Giants go into the fourth quarter with less than 3 yards per play. Literally could not move the ball, and then worked down the field. Got the 2-point conversion on an amazing play by Malik Neighbors. Carr gets hurt. There's even a chance late in the game. This is I'll speak my piece on this, and we don't have to talk about this game again. I feel so unfortunate not to have won that game. The Giants have a 4th down on their own side of the field late in the game, and instead of knocking the ball down 20 yards downfield, Demario Davis catches it on 4th down, and they lose the 20 yards of field position, which had them in field goal range with the Giants with 3 timeouts. It was insane to me. Not only did Demario Davis catch the ball, but he went down like he couldn't run it back. The Giants still had their timeouts left. Like, I can't really
total brain cramp.
Just
total brain cramp. And this type of situational stuff, it's like, how do you not know? And I think Suma was in the chat with us earlier being like, it's easy for us to say on the couch, like, are these guys not trained to understand some of these mental situations? And we'll get to the Bills game later, but it's that kind of stuff. It's like, hey, it's 4th down. Either knock the ball down, or if you're going to catch it, it's because you could house it. No, they have 3 timeouts. It seems like they just don't have that awareness that they need to have.
Yes, totally agree with you. I'm going to sync before we get to 3rd down here. So I'm just watching the 2nd and 7 run up the middle. Play clock is going. We're going to get the Patrick Mahomes graphic, though, right now, before I can actually run the play clock. I do want to talk Rams-Bills endgame, because that was there was a lot going on there. It was just actually a really good football game. Some bad decisions, bad calls, as the play clock is at 17, 16, 15, and we get the snap for a 1st down. 3 run plays, and we got a 1st down. Yeah. Okay. That Bills-Rams endgame, you had a sequence that was pretty damn bad where Rob Havenstein false started on a 4th down that they converted. Following play, I thought, was a very clear OPI on the wide receiver. Cooper Kupp, I think, was blocking on the outside there. And then whatever, Bills go down the other way, and they could have put themselves in a chance to play defense. Not that that might have actually mattered, because they couldn't play defense all day, but they decided to run a quarterback sneak from the goal line where you cannot keep the clock running. Like, that has to be 4 passes, period.
Yeah, you have 3 timeouts left, and there's absolutely no excuse to kind of burn one there.
Yeah. Yeah. It was nuts watching the end of that game. McVay going for it on 4th down. This has been a thing, people. I don't know if people realize how often this has happened this year. McVay now has an analytics person that he consults to make decisions. And it's not the same as it was in years past. He will still do some like tail between the legs type of stuff. But even before that, there was a penalty that the Bills accepted. They could have declined and made it 4th and 7. I feel like the Rams still would have went for it, but there was just so much chaos down the stretch in that game. Honestly, it was just such an entertaining football game, because Bears 49ers was a blowout. Seahawks, I actually did win a small bet on the Seahawks. I didn't mention that off the top, but I felt very comfortable there where I could change off of it. Rams, Bills, what a football game, man.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And I was thinking the same thing when they had that penalty. Should that be something that you take there, or do you leave it alone, let them kick? You have to figure at 4th and 17 or whatever, they're probably going to throw something over the middle of the field to try and get some of those yards back. Chances are they're not going to try and get them all in most cases. And then that's more time you're also taking off the clock too. So do you just want the ball back at that point? and let them try and kick a field goal? Do you want to let them, if they're going to go for it on 4th and 7, if that was the number, I don't remember. Do you let them do that? I kind of think accepting the penalty was the worst of all the options that they had there.
I think so too. It was quite the mess. And Kyle said, like, someone needs to ask McDermott about yes, someone should be asking these questions. It's your job as a reporter to get to the bottom of these things. 3rd and inches, Chiefs pick up a first down. This drive keeps going. Stafford versus zone was first in success rate going into this game. McDermott played man on 1 snap. Yeah, that was tough. Like, there were so many open receivers all day for the Rams. And again, I'm not diminishing Stafford. He played amazing. He's got to get the ball out. Felt like Rasul Douglas, who I think left the game injured, was just getting cooked in this game as well, over and over and over. Running game was working, which is obviously very scary, having to go up against the Lions next week as well. That's on the docket.
Just missed that, bro.
Just missed him.
Yeah, I mean, Stafford's EPA per play was 0.78. Success rate throwing the ball was 66%. I mean, they had whatever they wanted throwing the ball all day.
It's true.
Nakua was great. Cooper Kupp was open a bunch too. So it's
Nakua played one of the best games I've seen from a wide receiver this year. He made some absurd catches.
Well, with those, oh my goodness. No, you can't just drop it and pick it up. That's not how it works. Sir.
Nakua is best wide receiver in football. I would probably take Justin Jefferson. That would be my guy.
For sure.
That would be my number 1 overall pick at receiver. If you give me the whole league. I love Nakua though. Great player. He's got a damaged knee. He's been dealing with a PCL injury all year. Don't know that.
Yeah. He is such a good receiver at finding little spots and zones, and Stafford always knows where he's going to be. Mm-hmm. And there's sack number 1.
Looks like Khalil Mack got him. He did. All right, field goal attempt coming up. Let's start on next week. Before we do, if you enjoy this stream, make sure you do 2 things. Smash that like button down below. Sends these signals out to other people on YouTube. YouTube starts to share this with other people. They join. We get a new audience. Take 2 seconds. Smash that like button down below. If you're not subbed here on Forward Progress, make sure that you sub here on Forward Progress as Kansas City Chiefs go up 3-0. Said that too early. Okay.
No, that's good.
Yeah. Said that. Almost made
the little push draw.
The cardinal mistake there. Let's start Thursday night football. It is the San Francisco 49ers hosting the Los Angeles Rams. NFC West matchup. NFC West is up for grabs right now. Early line at Fanduel in this game is 49ers -2.5. Total in the game is 48.5 for this one. Too many moving parts for me, Clive, in this game, just on the injury front with San Fran going on the short week. Trent Williams didn't play today. Aaron Banks next to him didn't play today. Nick Bosa didn't play today. It's a short week. I'm presuming that it's going to be tough for these guys to come back. But if they do, it would drastically change my opinion on this game, because 49ers being out their best player on the D-line, best player on the O-line. I know they killed the Bears today, but what'd you make of that? Of the Bears? Like, the Bears were burnt toast today.
No, so I think they probably have the 2 worst halves in terms of yardage, first halves in the league, and it's back-to-back weeks now. I mean, really, 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 really bad. What kept me off betting the 49ers when it got down to 3 was, not that this wasn't known, but Trent Williams not playing, Brock Purdy being a little bit kind of banged up too. I stayed off of it, but I did have the feeling that game had potential for blowout. I can't really blame the Bears, new head coach Brown. What is he supposed to do? They're banged up on the offensive side of the ball too. I just don't think the Bears are that good of a football team. I've thought the same thing all year. So it's not, it's not new. It's not at any point like their offense was really humming. And they've had steps up in class now in terms of defenses that they're playing. They have the hardest remaining schedule left. They have Minnesota, Detroit, Seattle, and Green Bay left too. It's going to be kind of ugly on the way in.
It is. I'm glad that producer Jason is not here today, because he would have popped up on screen and gave us a million defenses of Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams takes a million sacks. Like I don't know at this point. They're missing their center today, so it's not like they had a completely healthy offensive line. But their tackles are back. He there's no Bosa on the other side. He's going to find a way to take sacks. In this game in particular, I don't see much to do with it early, honestly. I think it's kind of in the range. I maybe thought it would have been like around a 1.5 rather than a 2.5, but it's not a huge difference. Total to me, I think on the look ahead was 47. It's been adjusted up. I completely agree with that at this point as well. Brock Purdy can throw the ball again, took a pretty big hit today and came out late in the game for Brandon Allen, just as, the game was a blowout. But I don't think I have a great look here at current market number.
No, I was hoping this was still going to be in the 47 and a half range, but at this number, there's nothing I want to do with this game. Not right now.
Okay. Like I said, there's just a lot of moving parts on the San Fran side that I would prefer just to wait to see what we're actually dealing with there, and then try to price the game accordingly. That's just my opinion on the Thursday game. Moving into Sunday NFL, we'll start with the Commanders, who are on a bye week. They're going to head out on the road to take on the New Orleans Saints. Early line here, Washington laying 7 on the road. Total in the game is 43.5. And of note, obviously, Derek Carr leaves the game today. It's a serious injury. He is certainly out next week. Jake Haener came in relief. Spencer Rattler was not dressed. I'm going to assume Jake Haener starts. Regardless, it was a competition between Haener and Rattler in preseason, and neither of them is very good, as Justin Herbert takes a sack there on second down. No other significant injuries suffered today for the New Orleans Saints. For the Commanders, I'm going to assume Marshawn Lattimore is going to play now off of a bye week. Probably makes his return, as does right tackle Andrew Wiley. Tough game to price, because we're basically pricing the downgrade from Carr to Haener. Carr couldn't really move the ball on a Giants defense that was missing numerous starters today. No offensive weapons. What is Haener going to do exactly in this game?
I don't know. I can't imagine much. And that looks like that's probably going to be.
Of all the catches Quentin Johnston is going to hold on to this year, it was that one. Over the middle. Yeah. Destroyed.
Well, that's a whole nother thing with Quentin Johnston. I thought he made a step up earlier in the season, actually completing the catch on a few more balls, but then it seemed like he went right back to Galaxy Brain and just dropping a bunch of easy ones the last 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah.
But God, I don't know how he held on to this.
I don't know. That was, first of all, what a dime. And he got crunched. And
that could have been worse. That actually looked like it got him more in the right shoulder than the head. It looked more head at first. Not that he didn't get him in the head. Honestly,
on the replay, I think it's fine.
Yeah, that wasn't anywhere near as bad as I thought in terms of dirtiness.
Agreed. In games like this, Washington, New Orleans, this type of game, I and this doesn't happen all the time. So I don't want people to take this out of context. But typically speaking, I think the team that is perceived to be the better team gets a lot of the early money. And then there's a resistance point usually where someone steps in and says, no, this has gone too far. And the Saints get back. I would be interested in playing the Commanders in some capacity in this game. It seems like they quote unquote fixed themselves prior to the bye week in that game against Tennessee at home, where they dominated the game. I'm still not sold on their defense, but Lattimore's going to make it better. And the Saints, the offense is just, it's so anemic right now. You got no weapons. They just don't have, like we saw it today, and that was the bad part of my handicap today. I thought the Saints would score more, but without Olave, without Shaheed, no Taysom Hill,
So that's kind of what I thought too. And I think we talked about that last week. It's not like it's one of those things that we made from a play. I mean, I have to look back and see what we said, but I kind of thought that the Giants New Orleans number would go down. Then I know the injury report came out and it got worse and worse. So, I mean, I get it. But instinctually, I didn't think that was going to be a big scoring game. I kind of think the Saints are going to struggle here too offensively. Obviously, I just wonder if the Commanders team total might be something I'll have interest in early in the week.
Yeah, the big thing for me, I think out of my takeaway from the Giants Saints game today was that the Giants offense is so inept that it made the Saints defense look better than it is. But if we look at season stats, the Saints give up a lot in the running game. They could easily be run on. Now, the Giants, 4.4 yards per play today. Like, again, most of that was when they were trailing by double digits in the game, 35% success rate. That's not what the Saints defense is. They're much, much worse unit than this. So, yeah, I mean, pretty strong lean for me to Washington at 7 right now. Again, this is just reactionary. I have to figure out the actual difference and downgrade at quarterback, but I just cannot see a backup quarterback in the NFL with these receiving options methodically moving the ball against a defense that's not good, but is going to come in healthy here.
Yeah, and I mean, I wouldn't anticipate this going to 6.5 anytime soon. I do think, though, if you're going to like the Commanders, you're going to probably want them now. And here comes some Herbert rushing yards for you.
Yeah, going to need a bunch. Okay, we'll take some. Dicker the kicker is going to have a 56-yarder or so here. Keep it moving along. In the AFC, Houston Texans off a bye week. They are at home, and they're taking on the Miami Dolphins with a big come-from-behind win today. Early market here, Texans -2.5, -105. Total 47.5 juiced to the under at Fanduel. Okay, I have some thoughts here. First of all, let's talk Miami Jets today. I bet Miami pretty heavily. I don't know where that Jets offense came from today. 6.4 yards per play, 53% success rate. They basically move the ball at will for the majority of the game. And I'm convinced if they had won the coin flip, they would have beat the Dolphins in overtime because I think they might have went down and scored a touchdown.
I have no confidence that Miami would have stopped them for at least points. I didn't have a dog in that fight, but I'm not a big Aaron Rodgers guy. I've been looking for a spot now to fade Houston. I just don't think that this one's necessarily it.
So I'm in the same boat as you. And it's not because I don't like Miami. It's because the number just is not calling. It's not 3.
Yeah.
It's not a flat. If it was a flat 3, it's a no-brainer. And that's why it's not opened as a flat 3. I think some people, Houston's offense is still not good. They run the ball too heavily on first and second down. Is a bye week going to change that? I don't think a bye week's going to change that. I really don't.
I don't either.
I don't know. It was a really weird Dolphins defensive performance today because I really did think that the Dolphins would get after Rodgers. They did some really weird stuff. I watched a lot of the game. Early on in the game, in pretty much every high leverage situation for or let's say every late down for the Jets, they were sending some blitzes. Rodgers was getting the ball out to receivers who were winning one-on-one and I was just getting so frustrated watching this. I'm like, don't do that. Maybe drop into coverage every now and then, mix up the defense. And then they started rushing 3 at one point and dropping into coverage, and Rodgers had all day, and he seemed pretty mobile in the pocket. I don't know. It was just a weird game to watch because the Jets offense looked extremely competent. Miami
Well,
also
what was
went
your-
1 of 9 on third down offensively today as well.
Yeah, I was going to ask. From what I saw in the first half, it just seemed like Miami left a lot of points on the board. Second half, not as much. I mean, second half, obviously, they scored more. But in the first half, it seemed like it should have been a lot bigger of a gap than it was, but they had to settle for field goals.
That's exactly it. Like there wasn't a punt in the first half of this game. It was each team moved it down the field. But the Dolphins did kick 3 field goals. You're right, in the first half there. Yeah, I don't know. Thomas Martin says, Rob, you hate Miami. This couldn't be like, this is as far from the truth as possible. I'm pretty sure I've bet Miami in at least 4 of the last 5 weeks, if not every single one of them. Jets, I played them. I played them against Green Bay in a losing effort. Just going through the schedule. Yeah, I've been pretty frequently playing Miami, so it's not a hate thing there. My thought on this is I actually think the total at 47.5 might be a smidge too high in this game. So here's what I'm thinking. The Texans offense is still very much run heavy, especially early downs. They force themselves into a lot of bad game states. I don't trust it. Miami's offense doesn't have the explosive plays in them. Everything is underneath. And DeMeco Ryans is a very good defensive-minded head coach.
Mm-hmm.
I was expecting to see this a little bit lower. Now, would I want to play it is a different question, right? I just didn't think it was going to come in above 47.
I would have thought it would have been around 46.5, 47 too. Like I said, I'm looking for a spot, or I was looking for a spot to fade Houston. I just don't know that this is it with these 2 numbers. I might want to play the over, if I'm being honest, if it comes down to 47.
Yeah.
But I have to look at this one a lot more closely. Like it's just not popping to me that I want to do anything one way or the other.
I'm just looking at where the rest of the market is at right now. The market making books are also at 2.5. Oh, the total's a little bit lower elsewhere, 47, 46.5. So maybe my instinct is right. Yeah, tough game. On the injury front, Houston went into the bye with Jalen Petrie, their slot corner, who I like a lot, and free safety Jimmy Ward. Both were injured. They're probably going to get both back. So healthy secondary. Azeez Al-Shire is obviously suspended for his hit on Trevor Lawrence. Anthony Walker got hurt again for the Miami defense. He came in with a hamstring injury. He left due to a bad hamstring. So Fins in a teaser, question mark. Probably not a bad look whatsoever.
So what I worry about there is if Houston decides to put their foot on the gas a little bit. Like, I kind of think I don't think this has like a narrow range necessarily. I think this could have a pretty wide range where either team could have a blowout victory. So instinctually, I don't necessarily love the Dolphins in the teaser here, but that's just me. I think the standard deviation of these 2 teams' offensive and defensive performances might be a little bigger.
Yep. Okay. Keep it moving on. This will be it's not involving good teams, this next game, but it's a game we can bet on regardless. And it's the Jets at the Jaguars. Early market here at Fanduel. Jets laying 3 -120 on the road. Total in the game 40.5, shaded to the under. We talked the Jets game already, where I thought they actually put in a very strong offensive performance. Defense, more of the same. It's been the same thing all year. Can't get off the field. The Jags-Texans game today. If there was ever a game that should have been placed on Thursday Night Football, it was that Jags-Texans game from today. Titans game, excuse me, from today. Deplorable game. I mean, the Jags just suck with Mac Jones. They somehow pulled out the game today. That's because the Titans went 0 for 2 when they went in the red zone. Titans several defensive injuries heading into this game that no one was really talking about either. Their linebacking core was decimated. Jerome Baker, Kenneth Murray were out. Their slot corner, Roger McCreary, was out. It still took forever for Jacksonville to do anything in this game. So to me, my initial thought is that it's Jets or nothing, and probably just a nothing, because I don't know that I can buy into this version of the Jets offense that we saw today.
So it's 2 weeks now physically that I've seen Aaron Rodgers feel like he's able to move a little bit more with his legs. Not that he's Aaron Rodgers of 5 years ago, but it seems like he's got a little bit more mobility to him.
Yep.
I don't know. I'm sure you probably feel the same way. Every couple weeks or every couple games a week, like there's something where you want to click the button and then you regret it, or you're happy you didn't. Me betting on the Titans today was one that I was happy that I didn't click, because I thought this would have been a premier spot for Will Levis to play well against a terrible Jacksonville pass D. Like, if there was ever a spot for him to go off, I would have thought this would have been it. And Jesus, like, no, just no.
Yeah.
Now, Aaron Rodgers is not Will Levis, but I agree that this is Jets or nothing. I think the total's probably fine at around 40 and a half. But I might have interest in the Jets as this week goes on.
Yeah, see, the Jags offense is just brutal. Like, it's horrendous. Last week, sure, they came from behind. They covered against the Texans after Trevor Lawrence got hurt. I mean, they did nothing until they were basically down 3 scores in that game. Nothing. They went to Detroit and scored 6 points. They lost that game, 52-6, something like that. Today, again, nothing. I mean, Mac Jones's first start was against the Vikings. They lost 12-7. They couldn't do anything. I don't think I could ever take the Jags at this price. It's just a matter of whether or not I'm ready to buy into this iteration of the Jets offense, because I can give them a pass for blowing it last week against Seattle. Seattle's defense is very good, but Miami's is not terrible. You know, they can do some good things. They got good players on D. Injury wise, it wasn't like a decimated Dolphins defense today. Tough game for me. Yeah. Leaning towards the Jets. That's an ugly one. That is an ugly one. Okay. Cincy, Tennessee. We're going to skip over that one next because Cincinnati's playing Monday Night Football. I want to get in as many games as possible that, it's a big board. Ravens coming off the bye at the New York Giants next week. I am very excited to see what this number is. Baltimore laying 14.5 on the road at Fanduel. Total in the game is 43.5. Okay. I have lots of thoughts here. Baltimore's going to win this game by 40 points.
They should.
Probabilistically, I'm exaggerating here. The Giants' defense is a disaster. They are selling tickets for Giants home games, resale, for like $20 right now, just to get people to buy tickets. This is going to be Ravens Stadium, essentially going to feel like a home game, with Baltimore off of a bye against a Giants team that this week, and we don't know what's going to happen next week, but this week, missing their starting left tackle, their backup left tackle, starting defensive tackle Dexter Lawrence, who is on IR, starting defensive end Rakeem Nunez-Roches, inside linebacker Bobby Okereke, 2 corners Deontay Banks, Drew Phillips. Then they lost their left guard John Runyon in the game today, and they lost their center John Michael Schmitz to a neck injury. This is as bad of a football team as I can imagine right now. I'm going to be very honest. I don't think there's any sense in going and betting the 14.5 right now, because there's some There's a juice 13.5 in market. There's cheaper 14s. But I would bet Baltimore early here because this is a crush spot, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, what's Ravens team total looking at right now? 29.5, something like that. I know we don't have it here at Fanduel, but just implied.
Just implied, yes.
I mean, I'm thinking it should be more like 30 or 31. Like, I'm thinking like it should be 31.
Unless this is the injury report magically improves for the Giants, I don't know how they compete. This is on paper such a terrible football team as they stand right now. And listen, I don't want to say that they're tanking because there's players who play the games, and they played today. And they almost came from behind and tied and forced overtime. Like, they're playing the game, but the roster is just not there. You're taking one of the premier rosters in the NFL, putting them against a team that was already really bad, but is now at backups on so many key positions. We got to monitor the status of Rashad Bateman, Kyle Van Noy for Baltimore. I don't know that it really matters all that much for this particular game. I hate laying big numbers in the NFL. I really do. This is one where I honestly thought we were going to see like 17.
Yeah. The other thing that and Mike mentioned it too in chat, like Giants team total under, that's another very reasonable look. I think about Justin Tucker too. Like, he's been horrible. I kind of like the Baltimore team total overlook once that kind of price comes out. So that's kind of where I'm at. I don't know if I want to necessarily lay the number, but technically, I guess, is there a world where I think that the Giants can hold up their end of the bargain if the Ravens score 30 to get within range? No. So, like,
the Giants can only score in garbage time.
Right.
They can only score in garbage. Drew Lock started today 0 for 8. He didn't come remotely close to completing a pass. They can only score when the other defense starts to play soft. That is the biggest concern with Baltimore. And I'll be honest about that. We don't talk about a lot of, like, I would almost rather lay the first half price. I can't see what it is right now. It's going to be like -9.5, -10, maybe even -10.5, because there is the potential that the Ravens they're known to do this. The Ravens
100%.
have done this a million times, but I'm not even confident enough that the Giants can beat that. I really don't. And, Milf Hunter says the Ravens garbage time D is bad.
That's why I can't seem to get my head around betting the spread, but I can around a team total.
Yeah, maybe that's the look. I might like your look a little bit better. Okay,
I'm not going to like watching the game, but if it's only $20, maybe I do go. It's right around the corner.
I would. I mean, well, it's a middle Sunday game. I wouldn't. I'll be honest with you.
No, I know. It's a cold Sunday in December in New Jersey, and I don't care about either of these two teams right now. So,
yeah,
changes the calculus.
I don't know which iteration I'm going to play Baltimore, but I can assure you that there will be an iteration where I play Baltimore, unless by it just progressively got worse for the Giants. I follow news over the course of the entire week, and there was some optimism that certain guys would practice, and then the week just kept going on. It's like they're not even here, they're not even at the facility. It's a team that's playing hard, but I feel like the front office is doing everything they can to not have them win games. That's where I'm at right now. Yeah,
there's that.
Battle of Pennsylvania. This will be an interesting game. It is the Steelers on the road at the Eagles. FanDuel opener here is Eagles -4.5, -110. Total in the game 44.5, juiced towards the over. You already know what I'm going to ask.
High?
The total feels slightly high, a little bit. It does, to be intuitively. We don't know what the weather is going to be, but it's a December, mid-December home game in Philadelphia. It's going to be cold. It's going to be windy. seems high for
Yeah.
me.
Go ahead. Sorry, you were going to ask.
Well, I mean, it's the same question I always ask. How do the Steelers how does this happen all the time? Like there's always, I just watch Steelers games every week. I'm like, again, I'm not saying they're not a good football team. On paper, I like a lot of things about the Steelers, but you look at today's game, 15 first downs, 4.3 yards per play, 37% success rate on offense. Of course, they win the turnover margin by 2. That seems to be a consistent theme for them. Of course, Browns kicker misses 2 field goals. These things happen in Steelers games all the time.
Every time. And I didn't watch a ton of that game. And now do I want to, if I am a Philly fan and I like what I've seen from them the last 8-9 weeks, even still, do I want to lay 4.5 to the Steelers? Like, do you want to lay anything more than a field goal against the Steelers? Not really.
I think Philly is a very good football team, but I think that this is appropriately priced.
Yeah. I just don't have interest in, like, it's not like, 4.5. I want to rush to grab Philly before this number gets worse because I don't know if that's the way it's going to go.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of in no man's land, right? What like the close on this game, what could it possibly be? Right? Outside, I mean,
I think it should probably close 4, but that's just me.
I'm with you. I'd be more inclined to bet.
And there are some 4s in the market now. I don't know about the injury side of things for Philly. I didn't see if anybody got hurt or anything like that. But I still think Philly's being priced at their absolute peak in market if this is a 4.5.
Interesting stuff from the chat. Connor says, I'm Mr. Steeler. I need 6 to take them. Say what again? Says, as a Steeler fan, Saquon's going to run all over the Pittsburgh defense. I mean, he ran all over the Panthers defense today, and they still came down to the wire. Browns were awful third down, 2 for 13 today as well. 2 for 13.
Russ was bad in the first half, wasn't he?
Well, like, listen, there's a lot of, I mean, they lose George Pickens before the game, tests out his injury, can't play. I mean, that had an impact on the Steelers offense today. They're just, they have no explosiveness without him. Larry Ogunjobi got hurt on the defensive line for the Steelers. That'll be one to watch. It was a groin injury. Tomlin talked about it after the game and said that, he's not sure on his availability. Aside from that, though, teams are pretty healthy. And I think it's a good number, honestly. I do. Yeah. I'd be more inclined to take Pittsburgh at the current market price. If you just kind of look at the way these teams have been priced in market this year, 4 probably seems a little bit more fair, but it's not like, it's not anything crazy.
Yeah.
All right.
Next game's going to be good.
I hope so. Buffalo, Detroit. Buffalo heads out on the road to Ford Field, taking on the Lions. Lions pushing towards 3-point favorites right now at Fanduel, -2.5, -120. So we're kind of in what has been dubbed as the 2.75 range by a lot of people. Total in the game is 53.5, juiced towards the under. Okay, lots of things that I want to note before we start here. For one, Buffalo, Rasul Douglas left the game today with a rib injury, one of their corners. I will assume that Keon Coleman and Dalton Kincaid are going to be back for the Bills in this game. It's been quite a while now since they've been injured. They're pushing the boundaries of what their estimates were. I'm guessing they're back. On the Detroit side, we got a million things to process. Their left tackle, Taylor Decker, missed last week. Has extra time to prepare from the Thursday game. They had several players on the D-line miss last week, most notably DJ Reader, who is huge in stopping the run. The other starting defensive tackle, another elite defensive tackle, Ali McNeil, got hurt last week. It is a head injury, and it's not a concussion. There's speculation that he has a serious jaw injury, which could be a problem. So I don't personally know how I take a stance on this game in the early going without getting a little bit more clarity on all of these moving parts. I would like Buffalo in this game. There is a very clear path to success for Detroit in the run game. Don't get me wrong. We saw the Rams run all over the Bills today. Bills don't have a good run defense. That can happen as well.
They're thin at corner too.
But if this is the same thing that's going on for Detroit, as happened with Green Bay last week, I'll tell you the Bills will run all over them as well. The Bills will run all over them as well. Seen a few near fumbles in this game as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, from just like a market perspective, the 2.5 juiced 2 3/4, that seems right. I think like as these injury reports become a little bit less fuzzy and a little bit more clear, I think that'll give some ideas. But I don't know that me just looking at numbers would really have a huge edge one way or the other. I think it would have to be not a narrative-y game, but more of what I think kind of game scripts look like and how the game's going to play out.
I think my personal feeling as of right now is this is a total of 53.5. You rarely see this in the NFL nowadays. In fact,
the highest this year.
I was about to say that. I think this is the highest total we've seen this year. I think that there will be some market interest in the under in this game. I'm not saying I'm betting the under. I think that at some point this week, the market will steam towards the under, and I would like to play the over in this game. The biggest concern is, of course, these long drives with a lot of time spent on the ground, but both these teams can create explosive plays. This is indoor Detroit, tons of points. That's kind of how I feel about this one. Is I just want to wait it out for more information, but I do think someone is going to bet under. This tends to happen with the biggest totals on the board almost on a weekly basis. And I think I'd like to come back on the over.
Yeah. I mean, this could be one of those situations where an alt over might be in play for me for, 60 plus.
Yeah. Yeah. Adam says Lions offense is unstoppable. Just got to hope they kick field goals in the red zone. I kind of feel the same way about the Bills though.
Yeah. No,
I mean, the Bills lost to the Rams today because there was a punt block for a touchdown. Let's put that out there. That's the difference in the game. 44-42 final. I mean, how often does that happen? Special teams mistake, it goes the other way. That's a forgotten play that no one really seems to be talking. Yes, the Bills defense played terribly. I mean, it was probably like a one percentile game for them, basically. It's awful. It's awful. Yeah. Offensively, they generated 8.2 yards per play. Like that is astronomically good numbers. And if they're going to play a defense that is battered, I feel very confidently Buffalo will move the ball.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Rams-Bills game felt like when I would play a video game and I knew I had to score a touchdown every single drive. Because it just felt like that's what was going to happen on each side of the ball. And I mean, we could potentially see the same thing next week. I forget who said it in chat, or I guess it's Adam. That's kind of the thing. So you got to hope for field goals and some red zone stalls, but I don't know that's going to happen when both of these teams have the offenses that they do.
Yeah, I'm with you. All right. AFC matchup. Both teams coming out of the bye week. Interesting. Nothing to recap from today. Denver Broncos hosting the Indianapolis Colts. Two teams in a playoff push right now. Early market at Fanduel is Denver laying 5.5. And the total in the game is 43.5, juiced towards the under. I like the Colts at this number.
Herbert missed him.
Yeah. It was a big overthrow there. Adam.
I'm just so anti-Colts, but at no point am I willing to lay 5.5 with Denver. So like pure numbers, I think if you would have strapped another jersey on this kind of thing, I would probably be all over the Colts at 5.5, to be fair.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, and I get it. I actually really struggle to bet the Colts as well pretty frequently because the quarterback situation is just It's just not there. I mean, I'm not an Anthony Richardson guy. He's too boomer bust. I think the Colts defense is kind of sneaky good. And as much as I've been betting on Denver over the course of the last month, they've had a lot of favorable spots that I think have inflated the perception of them. I think they got quite lucky to cover against Cleveland on Monday Night Football. They played the Raiders down a couple of players in the secondary. They played the Falcons down their entire secondary. I think Denver is too high in market right now.
I do too. I think their offense is too high.
Yes.
Meaning, like, I like an under as a look here at 43.5.
I could see that as well.
So that's my initial preference. There's some flat 43.5s in market. So
yeah. If I take a look at like the last month and I adjust Denver's success rate based off of quality of competition, I would get them to be 18th offensively in adjusted success rate, whereas I would get the Colts to be 20th.
Yeah,
I know, and it feels so different. It's just I've made a bunch off Denver recently. They've been good to me. I think this is like the pivot point right now.
Agreed. Yeah, this is the sell spot on Denver. I mean, Christ, Indy's had a pretty Detroit. They've had to play Detroit, Buffalo, Minnesota, Houston.
I know.
And then Green Bay. They played Houston twice. They've had a pretty rough schedule.
I'm with you. I don't like the Colts. It's just, yeah. This is purely price, right? It's purely price related. I think you got to pick a point now. Again, could we get a 6 here? I don't know. I don't know how the market's going to value these two teams coming off the bye. Just looking to look at injuries. Indy had offensive line injuries prior to the bye. I'm assuming Tanner Bortolini, their center, will play. Braden Smith, the right tackle, will play. The Broncos had a couple defensive injuries. Riley Moss, who's the corner starting on the other side of the field from Patrick Surtain. Brandon Jones got hurt. I don't think it's going to play a big factor this week. We'll have to see the early injury reports. But yeah, I just feel like there's really no time this year where Denver would be priced this way against Indianapolis, looking at market rating wise, plus where I've priced these teams. Yeah, I like the Colts.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Yeah, for me, it's the first initial look is under.
Okay.
And I would like the Colts. Like if you make me pick somebody right now, it's definitely at 5.5. I'm taking the Colts.
All right. Let's go to Patriots at Cardinals. So Patriots will be coming off of their bye week here, and they head out to Arizona. Cardinals installed as a 6.5 point favorite. Total in the game 44.5, juiced towards the under. I like the over.
Me too.
Yeah.
Very
yeah.
much so.
I mean, definitely you want to try to find a 44. Let's see, early market here. We got a 44 minus 118, a little expensive. 44 being a key number for totals. This is too small. I do have to check Kyler numbers against man coverage because the Patriots play a lot of it. But I think Arizona's offense was held in check by a very good. I mean, if you look at Arizona's last 3 games, it's been Seattle, Minnesota, Seattle. What's the likelihood that their offense is being underrated right now after Seattle, Minnesota, Seattle? Very high. This is a cupcake defense relative to those.
And I mean, I'm not sold on the Arizona defense itself either. Yeah, they're probably priced around where I think they should be. God, man, how many sacks has Mahomes taken today so far? Is that 2 or 3?
I think that's 3 right now. I haven't been paying full attention to that. Full attention, but it feels like 3.
Yeah, I mean the 6.5. I don't really have an instinct one way or the other, but when I saw that total, I thought over.
Mhm. Kyler has kind of low-key sucked against man defense this year. If I go back to last year, there's not too many quarterbacks in the league that are better against zone than they are against man. And Kyler was, not great. Last year he was much better. So I think it might just be sample size stuff. 0.25 EPA per dropback against man last year. I like the Patriots offense. I do. I like Drake May, especially if he's in a situation where they're trailing in this game. He can move it downfield. Both teams are healthy. I think this number is too low.
Yeah. I don't think I've liked the side at all this week. I think it's just been the three totals.
Yeah.
And it looks like the Steelers that one's already moving a little bit too in the market.
I mean, listen, like I lean Patriots, I guess, on the side, but I don't really like that.
Yeah.
I mean, 7 is a different conversation than 6.5. No, just the over here for me, honestly.
Yeah.
At the it's being bet over right now, actually, at the market making books that had the 44s out there. So we're up to 45. Yeah. I mean, this might end up being spoiler alert, might end up being best bet material for me on the Wednesday show this week, just intuitively. Packers and Seahawks for Sunday Night Football next week. Another intriguing matchup. Packers laying 2.5 on the road at Seattle. I believe the look ahead was 3 because I bet some of the threes that were out there. And 46.5 juice towards the over in this game. Didn't love so I just want to clarify because I said it. I try not to actually say stuff that's no longer available. I bet it purely because of the Green Bay injury situation last week. It might turn out to be a whole lot better. But obviously Romeo Doubs, Jair Alexander, Edgerrin Cooper all missed last week's game. But they lost Javon Bullard, their slot corner, with an ankle injury. They lost Evan Williams, their safety, with a concussion. He would have to clear protocol. Seattle was missing Trey Brown today, but I believe that was like a late scratch due to illness, and he'll play next week. So you got fully healthy Seattle. Green Bay, pretty beat up team. I've come around a lot on the Packers. I have, numbers wise. I don't know, man. I don't have a strong feel for this game. I feel Seattle's defense is getting better and better and better, and they look pretty good. You have Geno returning home, where for some reason he absolutely stinks. I can't explain it, but cannot pass the ball in the Pacific Northwest, apparently. Tough game for me. This is kind of where intuitively I would have opened the game.
Yeah, and I think the total right around 47 is where it should be. So me saying this doesn't mean that I think the market's going to go this way. This is me just saying that I think I might have interest. And geez, the Patriots total, the board's lighting up there. I might have interest in the over in this game. I'll have to kind of look at it a little bit more closely, but this is I think both of these numbers are fine from a market standpoint. I don't see them going all that heavily. I don't know that this will go anything worse than, let's say, like 2.5 minus 120. I mean, maybe it goes -3 even, but I don't think this gets to a full 3.
Yeah,
but
so like
what I'm looking at.
Market ratings wise, I do agree on the over. I'm just Seattle played a very clean game offensively today. They played really well against Arizona today. Just looking at their numbers, 6.7 yards per play. They didn't turn the ball over. Geno didn't take a sack.
And they have they got 2 turnovers today from Kyler, right? 2 picks. To the point one was in plus territory for them.
Yes,
right
there was 2 picks. Yeah, and one was just like this lame duck sailing pass over the middle there. Yeah, I would like to have a stronger opinion on this game because it's prime time, but don't really know what to do here. Turns out Charbonnet doesn't suck though. Turned out he was running wild today, man. I played some Zach Charbonnet under rush plus receiving yards today. That thing was dead in like the second quarter, dude. He destroyed that defense. I'm loving this McDonald Seahawks defense. I'm buying. Flashback to earlier this year, Seahawks were like 3-0. I was buying. They played a very, very easy schedule of opposing teams. Everyone's like, Seahawks are frauds. They've been playing bad teams. And I said, you know what? I'm going to get some McDonald Coach of the Year. I felt good about that. I bet them to make the playoffs. Then they played Detroit in week 4, and they got smoked. And
yeah, who hasn't?
You know, defensive injuries mid-season. I'm back to this defense being for real. It's funny like being at full health can change things.
Yeah, for sure. I just wonder if it's going to come across harsh, and I don't mean it to be as harsh as it's going to sound. There's so much parity in the NFC West. Like, I just don't know who's really good. It just feels like it's almost like a styles makes fights situation with the NFC West, depending on who they're playing and when, because they're all a little bit flawed, but they do have their own strengths too.
Yeah. All right. Moving along further, it's the Chicago Bears. There's 2 Monday Night Football games next week, by the way. First one is Chicago at Minnesota. I don't think. Oh, we have it lined here. There we go. We got like the 6.75. Minnesota -7, -102. Total in the game 43.5. We saw this game a few weeks ago. This was
what was that?
It closed 3. It was it was 3.5. I think it was 3.5. It was a nauseating push for me. Nauseating a few weeks ago. Because the Vikings absolutely dominated that game for 3 quarters. And then Bears found a bunch of garbage time, worked their way back into it.
Right?
It was 30-27.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, all right, I remember now.
There is a substantial...
they got stumped.
Yeah.
And then somehow it went to overtime. Yeah, all right.
Yeah, Minnesota 7.7 yards per play in that game. Basically passed the ball at will. Darnold, 330 yards, 2 touchdowns. Aaron Jones ran for over 100. Turnovers were even. It really wasn't until, it was 24-10. Bears scored a touchdown, missed the 2-point conversion. Vikings drove, scored a field goal, 27-16. And then within the final minute 56 of the game, the Bears managed 11 points to force overtime where they would eventually lose. The Bears got blown out so badly today. So badly that I feel like I've lost the valuable bet on Minnesota here. Bears had 3.1 yards per play today. Like I said, Caleb Williams sacked 7 times. There's a pretty substantial gap between these 2 teams, but I'm not ready to lay 7.
No. What was the look ahead here? 6?
It had to be lower. I actually don't remember what it was, but it had to be.
If anyone in the chat knows, let me know. I think 7's a little much. Might be interested in a Minnesota team total. I might be interested in a Chicago team total under. I'm not sure. But 7 feels like too much.
What do you think of this total?
This is where I worry about the Chicago team that showed up in the first half the last couple of weeks, of them not being able to hold up their end of the bargain of a total. So if this was 25-18, like that's roughly the implied. I would maybe want to take the Vikings over their team total and Chicago under, like this. That's why it seems a little low to me. Yeah. But I think I could see Chicago having another game where maybe they kick a field goal and they're lucky to put up 10 points with, a shit success rate.
It feels low to me under 44. This total. Now Chicago's gone. Like, listen, the last 4 weeks, the Bears have played the Packers, the Vikings, the Lions, And then they caught the 49ers with Purdy healthy this week. They've played a gauntlet, but they're getting shredded now. I mean, Detroit on Thanksgiving should have blown them out by way more than they did. I don't say should have, like what the point spread was. Detroit was, I don't know what happened in the second half there, honestly. The Bears just mounted a comeback in the second half. But if we're looking at recent weeks, the Bears have transformed into an over team is what they've become.
Yeah, I can't click under in this. And is this the best under in the market? No, there's some 43.5.
It's a domed environment. Like it's.
Yeah.
I love this comment from Jack. Bears may score 28 in second half alone. I know it's going to be painful to watch that offense, but look at the explosive plays that were there for San Fran today.
Yeah,
this is no trend. Like they're missing 2/5 of their offensive line, including a bona fide first ballot Hall of Famer at left tackle.
Yeah, there's no Ayuk, there's no McCaffrey either. Like this team is like not down to completely bare bones for San Francisco, but they're certainly not anywhere near even 3/4 health.
Yeah, I got to be honest with you, Clive. I'm struggling because I pulled the old classic recreational maneuver here, where today I told myself, like, I saw the schedule next week. I'm like, I want the Vikings in the game. And now I see the number and I'm like, I think that's actually a valuable bet on the Bears.
Yeah.
Like it's one of those, right? Like, is this game going to close? This game's not going to close above 7.
I don't think so.
So it's, yeah.
I'll be interested in kind of like some of the half prices. I mean, maybe the second half total is something to kind of look at like immediately. Like maybe that is the look.
I know. All right, let's end it here with our second game on Monday Night Football next week, which is the Atlanta Falcons on the road at the Las Vegas Raiders. Atlanta laying 4 on the road in this one.
Yeah. Who's going to quarterback for the Raiders? Another flag? What is going on?
Yeah, the quarterback is going to be 4.5, excuse me. Atlanta 4.5. Total in the game is 42.5. The quarterback is going to be Desmond Ridder, right? Like there was an air cast on Aiden O'Connell last week. Today. Gardner Minshew's on IR, can't play. So it's Desmond Ridder next week. Healthy Falcons team. Las Vegas dealing with injuries at running back, and Nate Hobbs has been out a few weeks now. They're a slot corner. Ridder sucks, man. So my first feeling when I saw this was Raiders getting 4.5. And then I just said, like, I need to just back off it. Ridder is like Jameis light. That's the way I'd like to put it. He's going to make 2 to 3 catastrophic mistakes every single time he plays. How do you bet that? How do you go, like, going into the game, this guy can't help himself. He can't.
I mean, there haven't been many spots where I've been like actively being like, oh, you know what? I think I want the Falcons. I kind of think I want the Falcons here.
Lots of the revenge angles are coming up. It was a revenge game for Kirk Cousins today.
Ooh, Mahomes thrown deep, and that's got it. Oh, that's tangled. I think their feet got tangled, and they just swallowed the flag.
Oh, I'd like to see that again. I thought he got wrapped. I thought there was an arm around him.
Yeah, let's see. Here we go. Oh, he was holding early for sure.
Like this is 15 yards down.
Oh, you're right.
Now it was. I don't know, man.
I mean, he spun him. He turned him.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
By the way, is Pierce the worst coach in the NFL? Because I still think he is.
As of right now, who's worse than Antonio Pierce? It's a good question. Off the top of my head, I think so lowly of him that I think Jeff Ulbrich is an idiot for the Jets. I think Gerard Mayo is
Mayo's
pretty rough.
The name that came.
Mayo's pretty rough. Pierce is, yeah, I think it's got to be.
How much credit's Rizzy going to get for that blocked field goal being a special teams head coach?
Schefter will be tweeting about it next week for sure.
I can't fucking wait. I cannot wait.
Yeah.
I have no instinct on the total one way or the other. I kind of have to look at Ritter stuff to kind of price that out. But I think Falcons at 4.5 is something that I might have some interest in, especially because 2 weeks now they've been getting it. Somehow they're getting a pass rush.
The over is going to get bet in this game at 42.5. The Falcons caught game day steam on the over today, and Raiders Bucks caught a bunch of steam this week towards the over as well. Yeah. I think the over is going to get bet in this game. And the chaos that Desmond Ridder provides is also good for overs, generally speaking, as well. The Falcons are still a pure over. I mean, I will say their pass rush has gotten better in recent weeks. I think they sacked Darnold like 4 times today.
Yeah, they went from causing no pressure at all to 2 weeks now where I don't know what their final pressure rate was today. But they had Darnold moving around a little bit.
Yeah. Cowboys fan here. McCarthy is nowhere near as bad as Pierce, and I can't stand McCarthy. McCarthy actually, he understands when to go for it. He has. There's a lot of things I don't like McCarthy for. In-game clock management is one, but they're in different tiers. I could see myself involved in both overs on Monday night next week and rooting for points. Just like you can call me Sammy Square on Monday Night Football next week. But Bears, Vikings. Yeah.
Board's lighting up. 43.5 now.
Here we go.
That didn't take long.
Yeah. Well, what are you going to do? People got some value.
That's why we're here.
Value at least. Got some early value at least. Games we skipped over, we could talk about really quickly. Bengals at the Titans next week. I don't know what the hell I'm going to... I have to watch Cincy play tomorrow night. But that's an ugly game. That is a real ugly game. That might be the first time ever. That game next week might be the first time ever that I will agree with the under steam on the Bengals game. That happens every week. Because I'm not sure that Tennessee could not exploit Jacksonville's defense today. And that's going to be upper 40s.
Yeah, it's depending on where you look, it's anywhere from 47.5 all the way up to 49. So there's a couple of different prices out there.
Yeah. Other games, KC will go to Cleveland next week.
Cleveland just can't not shoot themselves in the foot.
They're such a painful team to bet because they don't seem like a bad team, right? Like when you watch Cleveland, they're better than a lot of the dregs of the NFL, but the mistakes are always there. Always.
You never get a clean game from them, ever.
Yeah. But, I mean, we're watching KC Chargers right now. Again, this is like another privilege for KC. I don't know how much stock I'm putting into this defensive performance right now. Herbert missed a wide open touchdown to Palmer. And also, I've talked about this, but the Chargers offense is it's kind of getting figured out. Oh, Herbert's down. Oh,
Yeah, he got hit. It was on the borderline of late.
They're
like
calling a
right on
hold,
the
right?
cusp.
There was
Yeah,
definitely
yeah,
a hold. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Oof.
Yeah, no Dobbins, no McConkey. That's tough.
It is. Oh, that's a big hit. What's he holding? That's what I want to know. Because he didn't
Was it
seem to be
Rick?
in immediate pain.
Because it looked like he got hit in the ribs hard. Like maybe he got the wind knocked out of him.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. I hope he's okay. Obviously, I love Herbert. So
Oh, Taylor
Heineke experience. Hope he's good there. I was just about to bring up the Chargers game for next week. They're hosting the Bucks.
Oh, that's his knee.
Oh, they're holding his knee.
Yeah.
Well, that was my next guess, is that he
land awkwardly where it kind of like.
well, just any landing. Yeah. Oh, that would be horrendous, man. That would
KC
be
Alts.
horrendous. Oh. Spencer says Chargers money line with Heineke. Let's go. I'd be doing the exact opposite if I was really trading this game right now, which would be mashing KC money line as much as I can. Herbert grabbed the back of his knee when he went to the ground. Oh, man.
He was getting up. Let's see.
He's a tough guy. I'll tell you that. I mean, it's definitely not roughing. It's awkward because he is
in the air.
In the air. You know what? Where he's grabbing, he kind of grabbed hamstring, no?
Yeah,
he
like,
grabbed behind his oh man, if we had a Jeff Feinberg cam right now, oh man.
Yeah, welfare checks.
Almost threw up when that was rough.
That was I mean, I'd hate to see him go down for any extended period of time. How much has the number moved already? Like,
yeah.
This is going to be an experience.
Dallas at Carolina, by the way, next week. I bet Dallas +6 at Cincy tomorrow night. If they cover and keep that close, that's going to be a very big play for me on Carolina the following week.
I think he's trying to get himself hurt already. He's had enough.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you make of the Panthers right now, out of curiosity?
Well, I still like them. I mean, I took them in my contest pool, even with negative CLV. I was okay with it.
Like they're laying 1.5 next week home to Dallas.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that we were there. Are we really making these two teams equal in the market or close to it? I don't know that I'm there yet.
I think I am. I think I'm there. I think I needed today's game. The Panthers didn't play good today, but they hung around. I think I needed
made some plays late in the game, which was good to see. Like he didn't crumble. Who's the best unit on the field of the offenses and the defenses?
Let me see what I have recently. That's actually a great question, by the way. Great question. It's probably right now. It's probably the Dallas defense.
Yep.
It's probably the Dallas defense. We're gonna learn a lot tomorrow night against Burrow.
We are. Who hasn't since he scored 30 against the two, to be fair? So if I feel like it's one of those, I don't know if you want to call it, there's a lot of upside you could see. So if they hold Cincy to 17, just making up a number, if they hold them to 17, yeah. I think people will kind of change their tune. If you see Cincy put up anywhere between 28 and 34, it's like, all right, well, they do that versus everybody.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Howdy said Carolina offense or Dallas defense. Parsons and forget. Yeah, just having Parsons out there makes such an enormous difference. Enormous difference.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, Adam's right. They had a pass at the end of the game to take the lead if he held on. I mean, just missed.
Yeah, in real time, it looked like a touchdown. I was shocked on replay that it actually hit the ground. But they did. The thing is, I always try to steer clear of the misleading games. I really do think that was a misleading game.
Fair.
Philly didn't even really try to throw the ball.
It didn't seem like they did.
What did they end up with for passing yardage? Out of curiosity, let me just check that box score really quickly.
Without having any knowledge, I'm going to bet like 180. I have no
83 net passing yards for the Eagles.
Get out of here.
83 net, yeah. They ran for over
what did Barkley have?
Barkley was 20 for 124, 6.2 yards per carry, 209 net.
Wow, the Eagles had a 38% success rate passing.
Yeah.
And how much of that do we really want to attribute to the Panthers' defense?
I'm going to watch that game. I'm going to watch that game in full. There's a few games every week where I look at the box score and I'm like, I want to watch this from start to finish and see. JC Horn got hurt for the Panthers today. Groin injury, they said. Jonathan Brooks, of course, like I bet this guy's over. He has like a non-contact injury, such is life.
Oh, he had one play, or what do you have, one carry?
Yeah, he got the handoff and went down holding his knee.
So when I look at the Panthers' success rate, so wow, early downs, first and second, 33% success rate. Rush and pass were equally bad.
Yep.
The only spot where they were okay was 56% success rate on later downs. Huh.
How much can we stock? Like that's the expectation for Carolina's offense going into the game against Philly.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah, no, that's completely fair.
That's the expectation. All right. Well, I think we just based off of where the board stands right now, hopefully some people got some good numbers on these games. Baltimore's pretty much up to 14.5 everywhere. Still a -14, -110. I lost betting against the Giants today, but that to me is not a real football team right now. They need to be priced like what are they being priced as right now?
Which game, sorry?
The Giants. They're being priced as like a -8 or so.
8 or 8.5, I think.
What was Carolina priced at its worst? They were priced as a -10.5. Yeah. That's where the Giants need to be. I'm serious. I think I would take that version of Carolina when Bryce Young was playing shitty versus, they're pretty much the same team. They had no passing game. They have a running back that can run and pick up some yardage for them. And the defense is missing several starters.
It's true. Man, -10.5.
Yeah.
What do you think of this number?
Sorry, go ahead.
So I know the Bucs Chargers is off the board right now. 46.5 is the total that it looks like maybe the look ahead line was.
Yep.
Even with a healthy Herbert, does that not feel high to you? Tampa at Chargers?
Tampa, even though they didn't go over today, Tampa's an over team for me. And the Chargers went from under to over and are now morphing back into under team right now. So I don't know. It seems okay.
Okay.
Like that. So I lost Tampa, Las Vegas over today. I got to tell you, Tampa just moved the ball, like the turnovers, man. I can't, like, it's so frustrating when one team is just moving the ball with ease for the majority of the game. Granted, Mayfield took a few sacks. I think he took 4 sacks, but the 3 turnovers there, Las Vegas is turning the ball over right after like it was such a clusterfuck of a game. That one, I felt like I deserved a better fate, honestly.
I saw the screen pick, and then I saw Mayfield's like duck that he threw into the end zone. What was the other?
Well, there was a dropped pick that should have been easily caught, and they ruled it an interception in real time, and then they overturned it on review. It was just one of those games where, I just couldn't catch the break at the right time. Like Las Vegas goes on like this fucking, I want to say a 10-minute drive, honestly, out of halftime. I'm pretty sure it was close to a 10-minute drive. And they threw a pick at the Tampa Bay 10.
I remember.
I'm looking it up now. 16 plays, 66 yards, 10-minute, 20-second drive that results in an interception.
Yeah.
Just Las Vegas 20. Baker throws a pick. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Such is life. Such is life. All right.
I wish I had a good feeling for tomorrow's game.
I took the 6. Let me just see where we're at right now in market. We're at 5.5. I had to. I think it's the last game on our list for a sweep from last week on the early lines.
Yeah. Didn't we like the over too, or no? It's so hard for me to remember, like, after we have the show.
I think for next year, always trying with continuous improvement. I think we'll be like a little bit more diligent in like specifics, but
I was also thinking like we could do, if we do go that route of tracking, if we both like a play, maybe that's 2 units, and if only one of us likes it, that could be kind of a half. Because when we both seem to feel strongly about something, it does tend to be a little bit better.
I'll be honest with you. I almost
don't
even want to track them because we should be able to get great. It's like I don't want to use it to pat myself on the back down the road because
that's not juju.
No, it's okay. Got a touchdown. I got KC money line, so I need that. I am sweating profusely right now. Sweating profusely. 9 plays, 77.
So your point, you were saying that you don't want to, back your heart with yourself, so to speak, or us.
Yeah, there's like the element of transparency, but there's,
I don't want to track them as bets. I kind of just want to see what the CLV is that we get, because I'm not betting these things real time while we're here either. So in a weird way, I feel like that's half disingenuous, but I also want to be accountable for what we're saying when we have strong feelings on a line move.
Yeah. I like Levi here. Juju subbed on the field inside the 20, though. Got to take the positives when you can. Mike, I have, I don't know, I haven't taken my temperature, but I feel very warm. And I have what I would consider to be one of my Mount Rushmore guests lined up for Circles Off tomorrow for an interview. So I'm just hoping that I can drink a lot of water and get through it today.
You have any of those, what are they called? Hydration sticks?
I got a lifetime supply of Last Call, which is a hangover drink. And I'm trying to drink as many as possible.
The chat's throwing out some good guesses.
No, in all seriousness, I respect a lot of people. I don't want to, but like this person, I truly respect, as he's just a really, really, really intelligent person. So that's going to be Thursday that interview will drop. 2 more other episodes of Circles Off to round out the year. Big announcement coming in the last one of the year. Stay tuned for that one. Circle back tomorrow. We got some pretty interesting talking points for Circle Back tomorrow. Should be a fun recording as well.
What do we got on preview? I'm trying to remember. I tried to be nice, Clive, this week, and I actually think I succeeded. I didn't really stir up any shit this week.
Well, we had that guy Elf on Twitter that had the pick 4. Like if you had to pick somebody to win $1 million to save your life,
that was good.
Me, Spanky, Bo Wagner, and Alex Monahan. That was a good one.
I have an answer for that. I don't know.
I would like to hear your answer, but I'll give mine on the show.
Okay.
On Tuesday, yeah.
So obviously there's 2 that I was not taking seriously. It's between Rob and Spanky. Those guys are out. You know,
I think
Rob or Spanky.
I think you should take Alex Monahan seriously.
Well, I mean, less so than
Yeah.
you and Spanky in this instance. So what I would say is I think that if the accounts are unlimited and remain unlimited, which was the thing, I think Rob is the one to pick there. In my opinion, I think if they are unlimited and go limited, it would be Spanky that I would prefer to take in my perspective, because of like resources, account gathering, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, but it's got to be just like, is it just those 3 accounts, right? Because it was like a FanDuel account, a DraftKings account, and something else, I think. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But is it just those 3? I assume the question was asking if it remains unlimited forever. In which case, I think you can make an argument for anyone except for Bo Wagner. Like,
yeah, fair.
And there would be different reasons. If you actually have to like nurture the account, I'm very good at that. Like I would take myself, because Spanky's doing a lot of arbing and stuff like that as well, which is going to get you nuked on so many accounts anyways.
Right.
But that'll be a fun conversation. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. I don't know how much. I don't know enough about Spanky's operation to know. I know other people who do things like him that just cycle through accounts as fast as possible. It's just go full steam ahead. They're not trying to nurture anything. It's like get every dollar you can get out of it as fast as possible. There's no longevity that they're trying to get. Broadly speaking,
he's publicly said now though for a while, and he's told me this privately, but he said it publicly that he's barely involved in the betting operation anymore. Like his head trader is Luke. Luke's handling it. Chinese Mike's getting accounts for them. Like he's focused on other stuff. Like he's already planning Bet Bash for August next year. Like he's got other things on the go. So anyways, spoiler alert on my feelings on this. Are the Chargers going to possibly get into field goal range? Well, it's interesting that they run on third. Are these guys brain dead?
No, it's Harbaugh. That's just Harbaugh's nature. Like lose by as little as possible.
I understand that it's third down, but you have to get into field goal range. Like what are they doing? You got to move more than 7 yards.
And now they just used their last time.
Like what is wrong with these people? How do they not get it? This is what I don't understand. How do they not get it?
For all of the not the rah-rah, but whatever you want to call it, we'll call it just the team building, right? Like the camaraderie, everything that Jim Harbaugh builds with his team. He's got this cohesiveness that he's able to build wherever he seems to go. Just fucking hire somebody to manage the game decisions, and do your thing.
Yeah. We got a comment here that 5.7% ROI for me in the Pizzola opener category. Good. Take that. Would happily take that. Just need more volume. Need more NFL games. Need more early bets. Need more early stuff.
Who eats Snickers bars with a fork and knife?
Classic episode, Mr. Pitt. I did try that before.
Have you?
See what all the fuss was about.
I did have a dream last night that I was with the Seinfeld crew playing cards last night. Really random.
Yeah, that is really random. Like, why did they throw in? I don't know. I don't know what the Chargers were doing to end this half here, but they ended it in a pathetic fashion.
Yeah, I don't think Andy Reid knows either.
Yeah, that's it. They're getting the second half kickoff at least.
And why do you look confused?
Yeah,
You called the plays.
I don't know if they
It's your
thought.
team.
Well, I don't know why the clock stopped at 1 second and then it ran. I don't know what happened there.
Chargers are back.
They really are. They're charging right now.
Yeah.
They're charging right now. All right, Clive. Good to
All
chat. 16
Yeah.
games next week, man.
Looking
The
forward
real
to it.
deal. So am I. All right, man.
All right, buddy. Later.
Clive Bixby, everyone. Give him a follow on Twitter at Clive Bixby 41. All right. I have to wrap. I will be live tomorrow night. I will tell you right now, by hell or high water, it's a Cowboys game. I might even break out my Dallas Cowboys poncho for tomorrow night, which I acquired in Mexico. I might even do that. But I'm feeling terrible right now. I hate having to do this to people who join the chat for the night and just want to watch the game and chat with one another. Apologies for cutting early, but body's not up to it today. And got to get right for tomorrow. So thank you to everyone who participated. Please, if you don't mind, smash that like button on the way out the door. Green juice and Jagger. I'm going to avoid the booze tonight, people. I don't think I'm going to go anywhere near the booze. I hope I'm in good enough shape to grab a soup tomorrow. I really do. I really do. Thanks, everyone who tuned in tonight. Hopefully, we get some luck with our bets here in the second half. And hopefully, I'm in good spirits for tomorrow night and feeling much better. For myself, Rob Pizzola, for Clive Bixby, for producer Zach Phillips, behind the scene. This has been a Forward Progress Sunday Night Football watch along. I'll catch everyone again here tomorrow. Peace out, everyone.